Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with everybody, and I'm excited because this is truly my first official video and YouTube creation where I actually put some time and effort into trying to prepare for it and plan for it. So what I want to talk about today is guinea pig stuff. All the things you need, and I mean all the things you need when you own and are trying to take very good care of your guinea piggies. And I love my little piggies, so I really have tried to do as best as I possibly could. But I've also had to do it on a budget because I won't get into it, but yes, my finances are not always in the best shape. I'm a very ordinary, normal person, and I do struggle a little bit with that. So although I wanted to have guinea pigs, I knew they were a bit pricey. I didn't really realize how pricey, but now I do. But it's still within my means, so I've done it. And I've owned them now for about a year. I adopted 2 a year ago. You might have heard my story in another of my videos. I adopted a bonded pair of boars, boy guinea pigs. And not long after I adopted them, their bond broke badly. And so I've had to go through cage changes in order to accommodate them, where they had to live together but apart, separate, so they couldn't fight, and so on. But over this past year, I have collected a lot of guinea pig stuff. And that's what I want to talk about, because if you have guinea pigs, or if you're considering adopting a couple of guinea pigs, and yes, they do recommend more than one, because they are herd animals and they are accustomed to living with other guinea pigs, and they're much happier and healthier if they do. So anyway, that is a little bit about the purpose of this channel, a little bit about myself, and so we'll go from there. So in my home, my guinea pigs actually ended up living in an area in between my living room and my dining room. And I'm sure some folks are thinking that's terrible. But I live in a 2-bedroom condominium, and it's similar to a 2-bedroom apartment, so it's not huge. It might be a little bit larger than most apartments. I think we have about 1,400 square feet in here. So the rooms themselves are not teeny tiny, but neither are they huge. We use one of our bedrooms, obviously, as our bedroom, and we use the other one as my husband's office because he works from home. So he is in there all of the time, and I love my husband. He's a really good man, but he does not love animals like I love animals. And he did not want the guinea pigs in his office. Needless to say, there's no room in our bedroom. So here they are, in between my living room and dining room. And it actually works out quite well. If you don't know, guinea pigs are not very dirty animals. The dirtiest thing they do, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but they do poop a lot, a whole lot. And if you're not familiar with guinea pig poop, it's similar to rabbit pellets, only it's different shape. Rabbit poops tend to be round, like a little ball. But guinea pigs, it's more like football shaped, kind of longer than a football, but like a pipe with little ends. So, and they do a lot of it, an awful lot of it. So one thing that you learn is that you have to sweep them up out of their pen a number of times each day. If you let them sit there, and they pee on them too especially, it can get a little smelly. But if you are pretty diligent about cleaning them up at least twice a day, they don't get very smelly. The thing that smells in a guinea pig pen is their hay. And it smells because hay has an odor. Not a bad odor, it's just a hay odor. I personally think some of it smells a little bit like tea leaves. But if they use it as their litter box, which mine do, and you don't clean that out at least once a day, then it can get a little smelly. But if you are diligent, and you need to be that diligent anyway, for the sake of your guinea pigs, they have to be in a clean environment. They should be. And health-wise and for a number of other reasons, it's much, much better for them if they are in a clean environment. So keeping up with all of that is important. Now, what do you need to keep up with all that? A lot. You need stuff. You need stuff, and more stuff. So, for me, I ended up, and this was after several different cages to accommodate the need, I ended up creating a CNC cage that is L-shaped for my guinea pigs, and it is sitting on two tables that are the type that have the legs and the tables that fold. Hard plastic on the tabletops are hard white plastic, and then the legs underneath are metal, and you can fold the legs up and then fold the tables in half. One is larger than the other, and the smaller one is what makes the L shape toward the end of the pen. So they sit, the guinea pig's pen sits up off the floor about not quite 3 feet, but closer to 3 feet than 2.5. I think those tables' heights are about 30 inches, and the pens just sit on top of those two tables. So underneath those tables is space, and I am utilizing that space for their stuff, and more stuff. So every inch underneath those tables is utilized at this moment. I ended up buying a couple of plastic storage containers that have just the rectangular shaped. They're about 1.5 feet tall, maybe a little more than 1 foot wide, and they have lids, and I use those for a lot of their supplies. I also have a small, almost like a large toolbox that I use for their emergency kit, which is a kit that contains all kinds of over-the-counter type meds and treatments that you can use, and it isn't uncommon to need to use those things, but you keep them handy for an emergency. And that is under there. I have their hay, which comes in actually pretty nice cardboard boxes, thick cardboard. And I started out taking it out of those boxes and putting it into one of the plastic containers, but I have recently decided not to do that, just to leave it in the boxes. It seems to stay quite fine just in there, and I can store them. I just slide them under the table on their side, and they fit quite well. Their other food supplies are down there. They eat pellets, guinea pig pellets, that are made of hay and a few other ingredients. And so those things are under there. And I've changed the way I store all of that stuff a couple of times over this past year, trying to reach a point where it was easiest for me to get to them when I need to, where it will store them in a nice way so that they stay nice and fresh or clean, etc. And so that I can pull out those plastic containers easily. They just slide. I've got a wooden floor, so they just slide out, and so on. So that's under my table, the table where their pen sits. I also, at one end of that table, have an area, and I'll show you with some pictures. All of this I'm going to try to demonstrate along with this voice recording by way of photographs. So you're going to see a slideshow of photographs as I'm speaking here. And this next thing will be at the one end of the pen on the table. I have a smaller plastic container with no lid, and in it I keep a lot of their treats, things that I want to grab kind of quickly. I keep the scale I use to weigh them. It's in there. I have a pair of scissors in there because I frequently get orders from Amazon or Chewy.com or Walmart, wherever I've ordered, that I need to open the boxes with a box cutter. So it's stored in there. Anything I use like that, paper towels, because I use them to clean their pen. What else is in that little box? There are the cleaning solution is more or less sitting in that box at this end of the table. So those are things that I reach for frequently, and I want them handy. So they sit right there. No, it doesn't look pretty. If you're trying to make the room look decorative and neat and perfectly clean, this is not what you want to do. But for me, it works just fine. I'm not fussy about that sort of thing, and I want to be able to reach for it and grab it real quick. So that's where that sits. And then at the end of the L part of my table and pen setup, there's a little space, and that is where my trash can sits. Now, I'll show you a picture of the trash can. This little can looks like a metal can with a foot lever that you step on, and it opens the lid. So normally the lid is closed. When I'm cleaning, I open that lid and with my foot, and I can just dump whatever I need to into it. And one day I will show you how I do that. But for now, I bought it because it was the cheapest one I could find that looked half decent. It was $19 from Walmart, and it's worked out perfectly fine. I've had it for almost the whole year now, and it's been great. It's actually made of plastic, but it looks like metal, and I appreciate that. It's not a bad little piece of equipment, and it served my purpose quite nicely. And there you go. So beside it, I have this little shelf set up. It's a small 3-shelf stand, wooden, and I use it right now to store all of their soft hideys on it and some of their pee pads. The soft hideys are made of cloth, all of them, and I change them up because, you know, they do use them, and they get in them, and they sleep, and they pee, and they poop, and they get messy. So they've been washed 1,000 times, and I occasionally have to buy new ones because the old ones start getting ratty, and there you go. But anyway, that's where I store them for the most part. And once again, that is just an open shelving unit. You can see what's stored on it. I do have plans in the not too distant future to purchase a cabinet more than an open shelving unit that has drawers in it, but they look rather large. It is just a little bit taller than this shelving unit, if I looked at the measurements, and a little bit wider, and I'm going to use it to store things like this so that they aren't so out in the open. It'll look a little neater, and I do care a little bit, but I can't afford to care like some people do. If you watch some videos on here of guinea pig owners who have had YouTube channels for a long time, and they've had guinea pigs for 20-some years, and they obviously have some wherewithal, we'll put it that way, they really can make their guinea pig rooms look wonderful, and they do usually have a room that is just set up for their guinea pigs. And it amazes me what they do. It's beautiful and very nice, and they have wonderful storage areas that are kind of hidden away, but very, very practical. And that's all great, but I'm an ordinary person without that kind of wherewithal, so I'm doing the best I can. If you're like me, I hope you enjoy my video. If you're not like me, if you're one of them, I hope you enjoy my video. I've certainly enjoyed yours. So, and I've learned so much from watching their YouTube videos, and I'm very grateful for that. Very. So, anyway, so that is my little 3-shelf unit and what I store on there. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot. That's pretty much all of the stuff, and more stuff. Now, as to what is in the, or how I store the following items. I think I talked a little bit about their hay and their food things. I just got it, haven't had a chance to get it out, but I ordered a plastic container to hold their pellets in. Right now they're just in the bag that they came in, but I want them in a plastic container for storage reasons, for ease of access reasons, and a little bit for look. so that their pellets are going to go in there. Their hay is going to stay right where it is in the boxes. And they eat veggies every day, fresh vegetables, green pepper, red pepper, cucumber, lettuce, romaine lettuce, and green leaf and red leaf lettuce. They eat, I feed mine anyway. I can't think of the name of it. There goes my mind. I'm so sorry. Radicchio. I do feed them radicchio. I get them fennel, and I chop it up, and they eat that. What else? Baby carrots. They love them. I can't give them too much, but they do love them. And that's a whole video story about what kind of vegetables to feed your guinea pigs, what's good for them, how much of each, how often of each, and all of that. It's all out there online. You can find it elsewhere besides me, but anyway, okay, so that stuff just obviously stays in the refrigerator until I'm ready to chop it up and give it to them. Their bedding supplies. I use fleece liners for their cages that are almost the same size as the floor of their pen, and I use one in the L shape and another one in the long part of the L shape. So that's two per pen, 2 in the pen at all time of the big ones. And then I use a number of small fleece pads for the areas where they do most of their peeing and pooing, where their hideys are, where they eat, and where they drink. So those get changed every day, or every other at least, and laundered. And so I have a lot of them. I've gathered a lot over the past year. I have 2 of the larger plastic lidded containers full of small pads and the larger fleece liners. And then I have a few of them sitting out right now because I'm setting them aside and saving them so I don't use them and get them dirty until Easter. They are the colors I want to use for Easter. The only times of year so far that I have done anything special with their pen to make it look a little decorative and special, I'll use that word again, is Christmas so far, but now I'm planning on doing a little bit for Easter. So I'll post some pictures of that when the time is right. In the meantime, yes. And I also have 2 of the larger plastic containers that contain other things that I use for them, such as I do a playtime with them out on the floor, and I have a larger, like a play pen made of metal, but it makes a bigger area for them. And I have a very large liner that is fully waterproof that I open up on my living room floor. It is on the floor, the pen sits on that, and I put them in the pen. And then I have some other interesting type tunnels, and I guess you'd call them hideys, things that they can crawl in and out of and snoop around, and I put their hay in some of it just to give them some time to get out of their normal pen and play around a little bit on the floor with these other things. So those things are all stored in the plastic bins under the tables as well. And I think that's about it for that. Now, medication stuff I already talked about. It's in that emergency kit that looks like a toolbox. Routine care items also are basically in that emergency kit. And what I mean is they have to have their nails trimmed every 3 to 6 weeks, I would say. You have to do health checks. You have to weigh them. You have to occasionally, I will almost say rarely, give them a bath. Just things that you use like the nail clippers and so on to take care of them that I also store in that emergency kit just because it works to keep them there. I don't use them all that often. So I talked about floor and playtime stuff, and then how you use all of that stuff. I talked a little bit about as we went along here. Some of it is used daily, some weekly, some just once a month, some every few months. It just depends on what it is and what you need to do with it. The cost of the stuff, whoa. If I had to go buy all of this stuff all at one time, I think I probably would say it's been in a couple $1,000s. seriously. But stretching it out over a year, buying as I learned what I needed to be doing for my guinea pigs, and then I'd think, well, then I need to get that. It was stretched out over the year, so I probably have spent a couple $1,000s, but most of it is going to last me a long time, and I won't have to spend that again. I can spend little bits here and there. You do have to pay for their food, obviously, as often as it needs replaced, which is maybe every 4 to 6 weeks for the hay, for me and my 2 guinea pigs. The pellets, just every few months. Yeah, and the veggies are frequently, it's at least once a week, if not more. The storage has been a challenge, but I'm still working on it. I do plan to make some changes as time passes, and when I do, I will update you. But for now, that's it. Now, a little sneak peek into the next video. I hope and plan to discuss all the stuff that's in my emergency kit. More stuff, yes, but it's little stuff. I'll open my emergency kit, I'll do a little video of everything that's in there, and I'll talk about each item. But for now, that's all. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day. I am a believer in Jesus Christ, and He is involved in every area of my life, including my 2 little blessings, whose names are Abe and Joey. And I hope you have an Abe and a Joey too, at least. Or maybe an Amy and a Jody. Whatever. Be blessed. Enjoy your life in Jesus. Amen.